Yes.
No Raymond.
Is he expected?
No, he won't be here. He requested it. Mentioned he would be here.
All right. We're going to call to order this 1,420th Board of Directors meeting for Fair Oaks Recreation Park District. Call roll.
Yes, Chair Mound,
I'm here. Oh, a little out of order, I guess.
Vice Chair, I'm sorry, Vice Chair Carhart,
Here.
Director O'Farrell,
Here.
Director Smanny. Here. Let the record reflect Director Irwin is absent.
Excellent. Ralph, can you lead us in the pledge?
Mobile pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Presentations, proclamations, and recognition.
We have, is the podium on first? Okay. Board, I would like to present a award that we received as a district from Capri at their May conference. It is I'll read the award here first. In recognition of outstanding performance awarded to Fair Oaks Recreation and Park District on behalf of Capri, which is California Association for Parks and Recreation Indemnity, is the Capri District Safety Award for 2023. This is a really important award, and I want to recognize our parks team because 99% of this is through our parks. And for that, we have to be audited every other year, every 18 months approximately, on our safety practices, including safety meetings, how we do things, what kind of, if we have incidents, if we report those incidents, how that happens, all those types of things. It helps us basically with our employees, of course, because we keep them safe, and our public, we keep them safe as much as we can. It also helps reduce our insurance rates as a pool for Capri. So it's very good for all of us in the parks and recreation industry for us to receive this award and for the hard work that Parks puts into it. We have to pass with a 90% of the audit, of the safety audit, and we do that. And so we were awarded this award, and it is to the credit of the staff and specifically to the maintenance staff. So
It is, Mike.
Excellent.
John and group, appreciate all your hard work.
Yes.
Okay. Number 5, audience public comment for any non-agenda items. This is the time when any person may address the board on any subject within the jurisdiction of the Fair Oaks Recreation and Parks District. Each speaker is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Any matter requiring board action will be referred to staff or committee for a report and action at a subsequent meeting. Do we have any public comments?
No, doesn't look like it.
Tom, you're the only one in the audience. Okay. All right, moving right along to approval of the agenda. Motion for that.
Move to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 7, we're going to do the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar considered by the board of directors for routine and will be acted upon in a single motion. It will not be a separate discussion, but any of these items, unless a request is made prior to the time the board considers the motion to approve. Get a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 8.1, discussion of possible action on the fiscal year 2023-2024 general fund 3341A preliminary budget.
Great. This is our opportunity to review the budget and then adopt the associated resolution so that we can put our budget into place for July 1 for fiscal year 2023-2024. Have a little presentation that goes over some of the highlights, and then we can look at the details. That we did review the budget with the Finance and Budget Committee on June 7th. any recommendations or concerns that they have. So. Okay, so our budget assumptions, we will start with our expenditures. And we'll start with salaries and benefits. So this budget includes the addition of one full-time park worker position to begin at mid-year, so in January. And that's about a $25,000 salary cost to the district. The reason for this request is that, first of all, we haven't added a full-time park position since I've been here. I've been here for 10 years. And when I looked back over the last 15 to 20 years, we used to have a lot more park workers than we do now. I'm not exactly sure when we went from 8 to 6, but it's been a while. We have added 3 additional parks since I've been here. And we are going to be opening up a very maintenance-heavy facility soon. And we need to have some additional support in the Parks Department to keep that well maintained to the level that the public will expect to see. So that is a request. We did discuss that with the Budget and Finance Committee. They wanted a little bit more information on that position and why we needed it. So that's what this is. If you have any other questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. The position would be a park worker, and it would be started at the step 1 of the salary scale. We are paying for that somewhat by decreasing our part-time hours. Practice staff did decrease their hours a bit because they're no longer doing scorekeeping with our staff. I don't know how they're doing scorekeeping, but it's not part-time staff anymore for softball. And then there are 2 budgeted positions in parks for a regular part-time park aide, and I just did not budget for one of those 2. So with those 2 things combined, we did get to almost the full cost of a new park worker. Our group insurance, we're assuming a 5% increase like we always do. We're going to have one additional benefited person coming on board. We don't know yet what their benefit package will look like. And then we also have a vacancy. Our recreation coordinator position is currently vacant. We have not filled that yet. So those are 2 things that could potentially change how much insurance will cost. Our workers' compensation, we're adding an additional park worker that does increase our workers' comp rates. They're more expensive employees for the district because they just have more opportunities to get hurt. And then additionally, it is tied to salaries. So as salaries go up, workers' compensation goes up. The dollar amount that's included in the budget is an estimate though, and we'll get that probably mid-July. So you'll see a different number for final budget. Retirement, we are getting a 2.2% overall increase from CalPERS. That's about a $12,000 increase for that item. We have some savings in terminal pay, we hope. We paid out a lot this year. We're hoping not to pay any out. We don't normally budget for that, so there's nothing budgeted there. And then not in the budget, but a request that came from the Employees Association for a 5% COLA. We did discuss that with the Personnel Management Committee. They have asked us to come back with some additional information, which we will do in July, and then we'll see that coming to you in July for final budget in August.
Jennifer, before you leave this slide, going back to the new part-time worker, or full-time worker, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Mike, once, the amphitheater in Plaza Park is reopened, we're gonna have just a whole lot of new plantings, not necessarily trees, but foliage and stuff like that. So will someone be dedicated to that, or to make sure that we don't lose them?
Yeah, we actually will be using our contractor, our lone blow contractor for most of the maintenance of that. That's already in this new budget.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
that's incorporated into their contract.
okay, good.
Mike, for the last year when things have been torn up there, what about our maintenance contractor? Did they reduce?
We had requested reduction. We did not get that reduction. But we were able to utilize them more for ball field maintenance, things like that, that we need some additional services on. And so for the last year and a half, we've been doing that with them. And it's been very beneficial. We felt we've got our money's worth out of it. Plus, once they hired somebody, and it's very understandable, they hire their folks based on our contract, and they get those people, familiar with our parks, the processes and all those things. It's really a detriment to all of us to have that knowledge gone. So we wanted to keep them too. So being able to give them that extra work was very important.
And what kind of work? I know there's we still lack mowing in a lot of places. What, weed mowing, weed whacking. So what was the nature of that? More fertilization, more what?
Sean's in there.
We did get our money's worth for, because that was a big reduction in the amount of work.
It was, you're still got your travel time, stuff like that. I don't know if Sean can kind of feed into that if he's available. He's under the weather. So
Okay. My other question, looking at the budget, have we talked about cost of living? I don't see where that's factored in.
Yeah, that is a request that has not been included in this preliminary budget, but you will see that come in July. For you talking about for staff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I gather there's less staff and there's some positions unfilled that we're going to tap in on.
Yeah,
But, so the new position we're requesting, the other thing, that's 40,000 for 6 months. That's loaded rate, so they're gonna cost us about 80,000 a year.
no, it's 25,000 for 6 months, so about 50,000 for a year with salary, and then benefits will add another.
The cost of this position will be about 48,000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Period.
Yeah, that's
January
fully
to June.
loaded, I apologize.
Yeah, including salary and benefits. So
Yes.
that position will cost us about 80,000. And why is that different from the positions we haven't filled before in the budget? Why isn't it just carrying one of those positions over?
It's just adding an additional person in that category.
And we're eliminating the other
We're eliminating the part-time regular position. We haven't, I don't think we've ever had both of those filled at the same time.
Those were both part-time?
One of them is just currently not filled, and so.
So it's kind of a wash, although part-time don't get the same benefits that full-time do.
Yeah.
So I noticed everything else seems to have gone up.
Yes.
And our budget for staffing right now has gone up a little bit, not much. But when we add cost of living in there, it's going to go up substantially. And I just want to conform to the fact that we said when we got bond money, we weren't going to add staff and increase staff pay and stuff. That's coming out of other monies, not our normal capital program. The capital program is funded. So I guess I'm comfortable with that.
yeah, we are, by law, we cannot spend bond money on staff costs.
No, but on the other hand, I don't want to see us taking other money and using it for staff that would have gone to things that we're doing with capital money. With bond money.
All right, so the total increase for salary and benefits for this year over last year is less than 1%, it's $22,000. So that does not include the COLA. So you will get that in July when we talk about that more in depth. For our services and supplies, we're looking at an increase, as you just said, Director Carhart, everything has gone up. So the total increase is about $69,000. That's about a 4.6% increase over last year. Some of the highlights, part of the reason that that's going up is because we're going to be printing 2 activity guides. We have not been printing those, and we're going to be printing 2, mostly to generate more interest in the new programs and new facilities, and because we've gotten a lot of feedback from people that they really want that. So about $24,000 of that increase is due to the printing and the mailing of those guides.
Will that look more like the one we put out on,
Yeah, it's gonna be the actual-
not just in the recreation guide, but also the status report on everything?
I don't know what it's gonna look like yet. That's up to Mike and the rest.
Yeah, we are going to be pushing basically sales, which is really important for the guide. We have to have that revenue. And so that's going to be his primary objective. Educational purposes will be secondary on the guide. So depending on how much space we have and the cost of printing, those things will be added in. And when we talk about that revenue production for the guide, we are looking at the Village Plaza Park, Clubhouse, Amphitheater, increased revenues, and rental facilities, and making that a heavy part of the guide.
So I gather it's going to be more of a marketing of our new facilities, but they won't, a lot of them won't be ready till February, March. So
Yeah.
When will that first publication come
That
out?
will be our winter guide, so it comes out in December.
So it's a lead into, yeah, so we'll be using it as a lead in.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Mike, who's heading up the effort to sell the different sponsorships and stuff like that?
We've just talked about that as staff early this week. And we may be coming to you with a proposal to bring in an advertising consultant, if you will, to help us bridge up to the new stuff. It's a whole different type of marketing that we have to do. We can't follow the same approach we've done in the past and expect to get the success that we want. So it's everything from the look of the advertising and the promotional materials, all of that stuff. We have to determine if it is legal to utilize bond funds for any of that. We don't know that yet. Sometime we'll find that out. Regardless, though, we're going to have a product that we can put out to the public that sells the facilities, and it has to be a high quality product. Yeah. And in-house, I don't think we have the skill sets to do that at that
When
level.
you create the presentation.
Right, exactly. Right. Now we'll get it out. We can get it
Yeah,
out.
what about selling? That's what I'm at.
I'm sorry.
Well, you're gonna have a presentation, but then you're gonna need to make appointments with different business
Oh,
owners
yeah.
and people to go and do a presentation.
And
And that's gonna be our staff.
that's our stuff.
Correct. And is it, can you offer any kind of like commission to the people that sell it, like? Or
To the staff,
yeah,
we've never discussed that. Yeah.
it's a very good incentive. To
Yeah,
get people
it's-
to,
I mean, if it is, I might be banging on the doors, right? You got a group I can talk to? No, but that isn't a bad idea. But
it's a good discussion. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's where the way the real world
You
works.
need to first find out
If it's legal.
if you can do
yeah,
it.
but legally you can do it, yeah.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
That's.
We might be able to, yeah, we might be able to buy them a cup of coffee.
It's part of their job.
It's part of their job.
I mean, I mean, the job description.
Well, the problem is that it's part of the job, but not going to go at it with the same amount of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Versus if there's a dangling carrot, like I might.
Yeah, I might get something extra, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, and even at that level, you bring up a great point, Director, is that if we were to go and contract with someone to sell that, you know, that's a different game.
Right.
You know, we can do that. We contract with someone to sell it.
Right.
They can get a percentage
Just
of
make
sales.
sure that the ones that they don't sell end up in the dumpster.
Yeah. Exactly. So we haven't gotten that far yet, but those are excellent points.
I'm assuming like any kind of consultant group or whatever will be brought in front of the board that.
Yep. Yeah, we go that route.
So one more clarification, the new, what is it called, Arts and Entertainment Manager, that's included in this, 2,250,000. That's all, full years.
Full, yes.
So there's no-
fully funded,
There's no surprises to that except the COLA then.
correct.
Yeah.
And there may actually be little savings. All right, so the next area where we saw some significant increase is our arborist services, falls under agricultural and horticultural services. Sean would like to do some tree work and put some money in the budget for that. And in addition, I think our contracted landscaping costs do escalator on them, so that's gone up a little bit. So that's an increase of about 32,000. Our water meter rates went up a bit, 10% increase on those. And then the district would like to purchase 3 new AED machines for our facilities. Right now, we have one and it's not working very well. So we do need to get one for the McMillan Center, for the preschool, and for the district office. And but we do have some savings. We have a little election this year that saves us about 24,000. And then there are some pockets of savings here and there that you can see if you look through the detailed spreadsheet, which I didn't include here. But overall, like I said, there is an increase to our services and supplies, $69,000.
So the cost of water has gone up. We did a big effort a few years ago to see where we were spending water, and we did a lot of mulching and other things. I noticed a lot of places have just cut off the water to areas that are not important. We probably can't do that because of trees. in the area.
Were we supposed to save a lot of water costs based on these new systems that we put in?
And you'll see some savings in the Village Plaza Park area.
Or the Phoenix one, right, is the one that Sean got the,
But I'm not talking about increased water, we're just talking about rate charge the products.
Right. Utility costs.
But we have huge water bills. 10%
it's
is
still based on.
the amount of water we use is substantial. I'm always shocked.
Oh, yeah, well, it's gonna go up 10% based on that water, but we should use as much water as it's saving.
Yeah, I want it.
Yeah, right. And we also should be saving.
I want to really refocus on
Yeah.
water conservation. And, if we slip that into, summer and full amount of facilities. We had a lot of effort about that a couple of years ago to help the water district, water rights.
We'll relook at that. I
Yeah.
think, For the final budget.
Yeah.
This is a rough estimation from Sean, so.
Sometimes I look at the set calendar, what we've spent for water in each one, it just, kind of shocks me. Being a
Yeah.
landscape architect, I keep thinking, isn't there something we can do to discontinue water? For example, the peripheral areas of Phoenix Park, if we were to put in a fairly simple drip system to the trees, let that stuff kind of brown out, or at least not be bright green anymore. It's not play fields.
Yeah, and we've talked about some of that. Some of it's aesthetics, of course, that most of that is aesthetics, actually. And those peripheral, some of the peripheral areas are in the landscape and lighting district. And those funds are supposed to be used for maintaining and managing those facilities or those areas. So whenever we have an issue like that, where we have a broken irrigation line or something browns out, we can count on the calls. The calls are going to come in.
Yeah, the Phoenix Park is not part of the Phoenix.
But I believe the side by the road is, and I have to check with Sean.
Yeah, just along.
Yeah.
Just along,
Which is again, an unusable space for us, but it is a landscape buffer.
I certainly can't use much water.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Tom, just as a general observation, since the beginning of the calendar year, has the community used less water than they did same time period last year?
Yes.
Significantly? Significantly?
Significant.
Significantly.
It depends, but I would say, in 8 to 10% range. And if I may, I just for the public record, since we're talking about water and rate increase, et cetera. In my 19th year serving the community of Fair Oaks through the Fair Oaks Water District, only our third rate adjustment in 19 years. And also the Fair Oaks Park and Rec District and all the ratepayers in Fair Oaks continue, even with the rate adjustment, to pay the lowest rates in the entire Sacramento region for water. So, sorry, I just wanted to get it.
Has San Juan raised their rates?
Yes. In the same time that we've increased rates a total of 10 and maybe 23%, San Juan has increased our rates like 300%.
Need to be passed on, right?
Yeah, well, we've been absorbing it year after year after year to the rate of well over $1 million to our operating fund. And we just finally can't cut any more. We can't cut any more staff. We can't, and then we had to pass it.
All the more important, I think, that we look at our parks, even though Tom has said in the past he wants the parks to be green, they shouldn't be green the way they were in the 60s when water was abundant. So, if we can put trees, first of all, select good trees and take out trees that are high water use, have a replacement program, and put them on individual irrigation so that we don't have to water the surface lawns. I think we should do another look at conservation.
I just did write a note to myself to to talk with Sean and look at when we can do a presentation to the board.
Very good.
Timing and stuff. So it might not be next month, but we'll definitely, it's definitely on our radar.
It's a long range. And we have a lot of trees out there that are not terribly drought tolerant. We live in an oak forest, you know, so probably do better with species.
And if from the water district, can make one more comment, I'll plug the park district. From the water district's perspective, in the time of drought and in California, there's this theory, it's gonna be continued drought. As people take out their lawns and don't have that space at home, the water district says you go to the parks to recreate. And so when your kids can't play at home on a green lawn, you go to the parks, and that's why it's so important that the parks are maintained and available if they can't recreate at home.
Right. And just to make clear, we have lawns like play fields and picnic areas that need to be green and lush. We also have what I call aesthetic areas that are nothing more than lawn just to edge our parks.
Yeah, I won't get involved in how, I'm just saying from a general standpoint, as people can't have recreational space at home, it's even more important to have parks.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is just a chart that shows the changes of our budget from year to year. Our personnel costs have gone up steadily. Services and supplies have gone up. Our capital improvements changes every year depending on what the board approves for a plan. Efficiency, it's $1,000 last several years. Great, and now let's talk about our revenues. We're assuming a property tax revenue increase this year at 4.77%. It's based on last information and got from the county assessor's office. That's about $107,000. We'll have a better, more firm number for the final budget an estimate. Assessment districts, there's a 3% accelerator on 2 of our 3 assessment districts, our Fair Oaks and our Gum Ranch, 3%. And that's an increase of about $34,000. Our recreation and arts and entertainment revenues, our staff has budgeted a decrease in last year's budget based on actual programs that have run and looking at a more realistic picture of what we've been doing the last several years. We just determined that we're going to budget a little bit lower. Recreation manager who's taken a different approach to the budget, so that's what this decrease is from. We are looking at some increases for our facility rental revenue. There's facilities opening up. We're going to get those booked in the last 4 months of the year. Those other picnic rental areas, I think we're going to have definitely increase our facility rental revenue significantly. We also have a very dedicated facilities person, our rec supervisor, who has been working really hard to process this year with people to rent since we're increased rentals, even with our facilities closed. So doing a great job. So that's about a $20,000 anticipated increase. Our cell tower revenue has a 3% accelerator. It's about $3,000 last year. We are going to utilize more of our COVID relief money to offset some of the costs of the arts and entertainment department as we did last year. $100,000 when we brought in from that fund. And then we'll be rolling over $50,000 from our fund balance for the contingency, which we do every year. Our total revenue increased over last year's $164,000. The total amount of funding that we're bringing in from other sources, $115,000. On our revenues.
So Mike, in terms of rollout of the new community center, I'm assuming that'll happen at the same time that the amphitheater's opened up and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, the amphitheater itself, since we're opening in February, we don't anticipate a lot of bookings for the
I
amphitheater.
understand that, but I'm just trying to think of different ways to generate money.
Yeah.
Couldn't we have an organ concert in the community center and charge $50 a head or whatever it is, and have some catering, almost like, you know, the garden, the dinner in the garden?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And we have talked about, if you're talking about a kind of a gala type of thing
Yes.
as we open. Yeah, we have talked about that. We recognize that we're going to do some kind of gala event and then some kind of mass event.
Okay.
You know, where there's no ticketing involved, come out and see the facilities, that type of stuff. But yes, we recognize that there's two different pieces here that we're looking at.
I mean, Oregon, like Dave Newland, had no idea that was in there.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a pretty cool thing.
So along that line, you know, we've been talking about little events, lots of events every week. Do we have a plan for February and beyond for something happening like concerts or movies or something?
We don't yet.
Okay.
And a lot of that has to do with bringing in that new arts entertainment manager, getting them to be the program arm for that, making it happen, creating those connections with the communities, getting the theater association engaged in this whole early planning process, and all that. We're meeting with the theater association on Tuesday next week to start that dialogue. So it's starting to happen, but we don't have any kind of schedule.
Okay, all of that will be under that position rather than recreation.
Recreation will have a part of it as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Concerts in the park is a good example of that, you know, comedy, a good example of that. So there'll still be a recreation element.
Do we have that person yet?
I give an update during staff up.
Okay. The other thing I want to request, it's kind of confusing. I've never seen an org chart of our organization. At some point, if you've got one or if you want to put one together, it'd be nice to see who reports to whom and see it in a graphic form.
Happy to do that. Are there any other questions on the revenues? All right, so this is just again a chart to show you how the revenues have changed over the last several years. See some increases in our property tax assessment districts, facility rentals, our program revenues, and kind of all over the place because we're still figuring out where it needs to be. And our cell tower leases.
Which ones are the new ones?
Library.
Yeah,
Which
The
dark
bottom.
green or the bottom green? That's the new
Yes.
revenues. So pretty much a slight increase except everything but programs.
Property tax.
all right. And then this is the capital plan that was approved in April by the board. This lists all the items that may be done next year, and not necessarily will be done. The only things that I included in this budget were the roof for the old library and then the two master plans that one of them we are currently working on, the other one we may be working on. The roof on the old library, when we met with the Finance and Budget Committee, they were hesitant to commit to doing any kind of project there until we have a more detailed kind of review of that property and what we can do with it. And, so it's included in the budget, but we would of course have to come back to you if we were going to do it.
So I'm getting old and blind and that's small. There's 8 projects there. Can you just quickly say the project name?
So the Phoenix Park Master Plan, which is already in progress,
Okay.
and then the Phoenix Park Central Area Development, that's the land and water conservation grant that we're looking at right now. The old library roof replacement, the district master plan update, which is a little overdue, so we're maybe going to do that this year, and then a district vehicle, which I did not include in the budget because we're not sure exactly where that is right now, where the funds for that will be coming from.
With bond funds, you can buy maintenance equipment necessary to do your facilities. That development is going to need a vehicle. And so we may be assigning a vehicle to it depending on how the budget works for Measure J. So we're kind of holding back a little bit because we need to make sure we have money for everything else as well.
Bicycles for all the board members, right?
Tricycles.
Tricycles, yeah, that's what I'm.
I'm sorry, let me go back.
I had a question on number 4. What was number 4 again?
That was the district master
Oh,
plan.
the master plan. That is the written master plan. That's not a graphic. That's what do we want to do in the next 15, 20 years?
The last
When
one
was it
was
last done?
2010.
10 years.
Yeah, it's 10 years is kind of your window or past that.
That's kind of the least helpful document of anything we spent money on. We never seem to, it's a good exercise in wish list.
It's a really good exercise. It really is valuable when we apply for funds like land and water conservation funds,
You have to have it on.
the RTP funds, the HUD program funds, all of those require a master plan.
Well, because it's so flaky, it would be nice if we don't spend a whole lot of time on it, a whole lot of money on it, but certainly get community input, make it a vehicle to get community.
Yeah, well, you'll definitely will see the RFP if it goes when we're ready to go with it.
Seems seems to
I
be,
love master plans.
seems to me it's always a flaky thing. We never do what we think we're gonna do.
And here are our current fund balances. Just so you know, what we have in our savings, our reserve fund is at 515,000. Our carry forward fund is at 1.1 million. However, some of that is earmarked to be reimbursed to the bond. The 3 assessment districts, there's 35,000 in one, 14,000 in the Phoenix Field, and then 40,000 sitting in the Gum Ranch fund balance. We have almost 1.6 million in our impact fees and 341,000 in our injury fees. We also, I did not include this on here, but we have money in the OPEC trust fund. It's probably a little over 100,000 now.
So this is how much money we have right now.
Yep.
In these, we're gonna spend a little more this month and maybe capture something spent last month. And so this is what we start with.
We're not spending any of this. The only thing that the carry forward fund will be reduced by 517,000 because we need to reimburse the bond for the strain card work. Other than that, we don't spend out of these funds unless you all approve it.
So this is the carry over, the carry forward balances. Okay.
Yes, and we do anticipate adding to that this year, but at the end of this year, so there will be a little more in there probably. That is the end of this part of the budget presentation. I can look at the detailed spreadsheets if you want to see those or if you have questions. Otherwise, the next step would be to adopt the four resolutions.
But this is all 4 of them.
Yeah.
I move to adopt each of the resolutions. We do this sequentially.
Yes.
All the resolutions are for fiscal year 22-23. What did I say? 23-24.
Yeah.
Adopt resolution number 62-123-0, the preliminary district budget for 2023-24. Adopt resolution number 062123-02, approving the preliminary budget for the Fair Oaks Park Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District 23-24. Adopt resolution number 06212303, approving preliminary budget for Phoenix Field Landscaping and Lighting Assessment District for fiscal year 2023-24. And finally, adopt resolution number 62-12304, approving the preliminary budget for the Gum Ranch Landscape and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023 and 2024.
I will second all 4 of those.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to agenda item 8.2, discussion of possible action on fiscal year 2023-24 bond fund 341C preliminary budget.
All right, this is our next budget. This is the bond budget, and I don't have a presentation for this one. There's not a lot to show. So this year, we're going to be spending down the remaining balance of the bond, we hope.
The full?
Well, yeah, right. I budgeted the rest of what we have left in the bond fund in this budget. Now, if we don't
Yes.
spend it, obviously it will.
Yes.
It will continue, right?
That was not my panic, yeah. What?
So currently, we have a
Thank you.
little over 15 million sitting in the what's it called, the construction
Fund, yeah.
Yeah, that the county invests for us. And then we have some funds that we are anticipating being reimbursed to the bond. That is the money that we just talked about for Shrine Park, the 517,000. And then there's about 1.4 million coming from a variety of other places that will go back into the bond fund. So there's
So-
reimbursement, sorry.
So you take the 15 million odd cents, subtract the 14 million, add back in these itemized things, and you come up with this 1,900,000, $2 million.
Well, the 1.9 million, that's the total of all of the things that will be reimbursed to the bond. So it's that plus approximately 1 million left after we finish the village park.
And that has
That's
to
right.
go for.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so there's about $2.9 million that as of right now, that will be left in the bond fund.
Okay, and that has to be used for Phoenix Park and Vista.
Yeah, and my understanding of the board's priorities are the Phoenix Park parking lot is a priority. So any of those reserved 1.2 million, if that's left, then we will be dedicated to that. If we do not get land and water conservation funds, if we get land and water conservation funds, then we've got more money for Phoenix than just the parking lot. So we're obviously, we're sitting back kind of waiting for that land and water conservation fund because we have to use that 1.2 million as part of our match.
So how much does that leave for La Vista?
At this point in time, 0.
But we do have a lease on that. We
Yes, we do.
negotiated the lease, so we can use the facilities there. We just can't.
Yes. And we're continuing to apply for additional funds through other sources. We did have a Senate appropriations that would be Diaz money, I believe the Diaz district. We're split, right? Our Fair Oaks is split between Barra and Padilla, and that's Padilla's section. We haven't heard from that. I don't have high hopes. But we'll continue to go after that money every chance we get.
So the remaining money, is that enough to do what we have planned at Phoenix Park, the parking and the bike tracks?
Only if we get the land and water conservation funds.
And if not, what sacrifice?
Everything but the parking lot.
Please.
Yes.
We are still looking at grant.
Yeah, well, we're not done. We're not done. So we've got the match money, and that's what's important. And so we can continue to look at those outside funding sources for some of these projects. It'll be very, very beneficial.
You know, beat the bushes for grants.
Yeah, and we are doing that right now.
That's where the foundation may come in.
Yeah, it's a lot, that's a lot of foundation. We're talking close to, well, land and water's at $4 million. We have to front the 4 million.
I just mean that's where the foundation has to get to work and seek stuff.
We also do have interest that is being accrued on the interest and investment money
Yes.
on the bond. Construction funds of about, it's about 500,000.
500,000, about $500,000. So at the end of the day, there's $500,000 basically interest that we can, you will make a determination where you want to slide those funds.
I'm just wondering, if we come up short on that, we want to move forward on those projects, can we take some of the money out of our other capital improvement program and redirect it?
You could, yeah, definitely board prerogative.
Okay.
So this is the preliminary budget. We will come back for final budget with a more detailed explanation of everything that's been spent and all the different projects, so you have that information. But for the purposes of this is to put into place a budget so we can continue to spend between now and August when we do our final budget.
Any other questions?
I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 062123-05, approving the preliminary bond budget for fiscal year 23-24.
I'll second it. All in favor?
One bit of discussion, this only goes for, it only will last till, where did I see that, till August or something?
Yeah, we'll do our final budget August.
I also should have some discussion after.
Good. Agenda item 8.3, discussion of possible action regarding additional property transfers from Sunrise Recreation and Parks District.
I believe we have Sean here to give this presentation.
And hello, good evening, Board of Directors. Sean Ventura, Parks and Facilities Manager. Can you hear me just fine?
Perfect.
So this is a project we've been working on since early 2023. We were approached by Sunrise Recreation and Park District for a single parcel of land that, though it was annexed by our district in about 2002, we did not ever successfully transfer the deed to that, the title to that parcel over from Sunrise Recreation and Park District to Fair Oaks Recreation and Park District. At an earlier board meeting, you have approved the transfer of that single parcel. However, during the process of discovery and trying to get that transferred over to us, Sunrise let us know that they believe there were 3 other fairly adjacent parcels there that were also still held in title by Sunrise Recreation and Park District. We have done investigations on our own side. We spoke with our district council to make sure that the annexation didn't, legally transfer it over to us. They said that no, it did not. And then I reached out to several title companies and finally found one that sent me the deeds, the most current deeds to those parcels of land, and they are in fact still held by Sunrise Recreation and Park District. And I included several attachments on this report. It showed kind of a parcel viewer map of the 3 additional parcels. One of the main ones is the open land area that we have that we just call the Manana property. And it is roughly about an acre, I believe, of open land currently. We do maintain that and the other 2 parcels that are still owned by Sunrise. And so we are expending district resources on it. We list them as properties held by Fair Oaks Recreation and Park District. What I'm asking of you, Board of Directors, today is that you give staff permission to accept these 3 additional parcels that we are already maintaining and give Mike Aho, District Administrator, approval to complete all necessary documentation to finalize this project without having to return to you.
So Sean, I'm very supportive of this, but I don't understand, other than the entrance on the south side of Manana, the entrance to the creek, what are the other 2 parcels?
So we just got that very small parcel of land that our neighbor has been using as a gravel driveway. That's the one you originally approved. There is a parcel right to the east of it, which is roughly a triangle shape. That is the entrance to Gum Ranch Park from the northwest side. That big oak that's kind of right in the pathway as you walk in from Manana towards Gum Ranch. That whole section is still owned by Sunrise. And then Manana proper, the large 1 acre kind of curved portion of land that heads northwest from the north side of Manana. And then there's just a tiny little sliver that is on the edge of the creek that is immediately adjacent to the Manana property. And I literally bought a laser pointer just for this presentation, so I'm a little distraught that I wasn't able to come in and point at a map for you guys. So it's hard to describe just by words, but the Manana property, a very, very small parcel of land adjacent to Manana, up against the creek, and then the entrance to the quote unquote backside of Gum Ranch Park.
Yeah, I thought we already owned the creek. This is one of the parcels you're dealing with?
Yes, we do not currently own that portion.
Say that again?
We do, yes, that is correct. That is the parcel we're talking about, but we do not own it currently.
Oh,
So Sean, I'm assuming that the amount of property taxes from the 3 parcels is de minimis, that we don't care about that, if they've been collecting the taxes, we've been doing the maintenance. Mike is shaking his head.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the actual, dollar value is of that. We're primarily just trying to fold all of the properties that we maintain and are within our district boundaries into our property and kind of set things right.
if I remember correctly, this was dedicated when the subdivision went into the county of Sacramento. They gave it to Sunrise District to get rid of it. And then, if I gather from what Sean's saying, we've never taken title to the creek, even though it's shown on the maps as belonging to Fair Oaks now.
Yes, that is correct. And speaking with the county clerk's office, it's a little bit of a he said, she said, nobody really knows exactly. The county assessor's maps list us as the owner, but we are not owner in deed. So the county clerks were saying, I think your annexation is good enough That's why we did a little bit further investigation to make absolutely sure. The investigations through the title company showed that though it was annexed, it was never transferred in title.
Yeah.
In this case.
Are we ready for a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the additional property transfer from Sunrise Recreation and Parks District.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Sean. 8.4, discussion and possible action on approval of Gum Ranch property sale to neighbors.
That is also Sean.
Yeah, and good evening once again, Sean Ventura, Parks and Facilities Manager. So this is very close at hand to the issue we just spoke about. This is, and I included an attachment which had a map of where these properties are located for those who haven't been out there to walk it. This is a small section. It's roughly 15 feet across, and then the length of two neighboring property owners' backyards. It stretches into Gum Ranch Park. These neighbors approached us in 2018 once they realized that the Gum Ranch area was going to be developed by Elliott Homes. They have spoken with the board a number of times with proposals to purchase a small buffer zone of the new creek parcel at Gum Ranch. This is the stretch of land that is currently a natural area on the north side of that small little rivulet of Arcade Creek. We came back to you to discuss this again in March of 2022, and there was no action taken because you requested further information. I've included that further information as attachments to this report, primarily the dollar value of the property and whether or not the neighbors would be willing to pay a fair market price for that property, and the appraised cost of it. So we did have an appraiser out for the district's needs, which was an appraisal of the overall new property regained for reporting to insurance, the value of Gum Ranch as a whole. The neighbors, as part of this process, likewise appraised just the section of land they were hoping to purchase. That appraisal came back with an appraised value of $6 per square foot. We have proposed that the property is sold at that price and that the neighbors cover all related fees required of the lot line adjustment. At this point, what we're seeking is your approval to sell this property to the neighbors at that $6 a square foot price tag, and give permission to District Administrator Mike Aho to once again finalize all the paperwork required to perform this lot line adjustment.
So Sean, is it $6 even or $6.92 as was in Carol Spitz's note here? And
so the original note from Carol was an estimate provided by Carol and Faye, our two neighbors there. That was not an officially appraised value. So the officially appraised value listed it at $6 a square foot at this time.
and how wide is that strip?
The strip is 15 feet from their property line out into the park. And that is because we have some new oaks planted there for mitigation purposes, that when Elliott Homes developed the area, they took out some trees and they were legally required to put oak trees back in to mitigate that loss. And if we had given them any more than that, then it would have put those mitigation oaks in the neighbor's property. And we opted to not do that because we want the oaks.
So what is the total revenue we'll get from that? And have they agreed to this already, or is this just giving Mike the authority to offer this to them?
So the overall financial impact we would see would be a benefit of $17,820. That is for one neighbor would receive a 2,085 square foot parcel at $12,510. And the other neighbor is right up against the creek there. And so they have kind of a smaller, oddly shaped parcel that they're looking for, which is only 885 square feet, which comes out to about $5,310. So a total of 17,820. And yes, the neighbors are amenable to these conditions.
Thank you.
Sean, when I was reading through this earlier, I want to say that we did an appraisal and they did an appraisal.
Yes. So we did an appraisal on the overall park, and I essentially divided the square foot of our property that we own there to get a price per square foot to compare to the price their appraiser brought back to us.
And what was that difference?
I believe our appraiser listed it at something like $3 and some cents per square foot.
Okay, I like this better. Thank you.
Of course.
I have a question.
Sure.
Since this is the sale of essentially public property, have you consulted with district council on making sure that we're essentially checking off all boxes? I know there are special considerations that need to be taken and done when we engage in these actions.
I have not yet checked it with district council, but we will be making sure to run it past them prior to making any official sales, just so that we're not stepping on the wrong side of the law.
And what will happen here, probably in, hopefully next meeting, it might be another month after that might be in August, but you will see a resolution. We're going to propose it to get on the consent agenda, and if you approve these terms and allowing us to go forward. Because you'll have to sign, you'll have to approve a resolution to dispose of these properties. And so that's an official element that you'll have to have. Once we develop that resolution and it gets on your agenda, that means we have done all the legal work necessary for us to actually sell that property under the public property. So we don't think there's going to be a problem.
Just one other question for Mike and you, Sean. So our appraiser looked at the entire park and said it's worth $534,000. Is that just land, or is that the improvements too?
Hopefully it's just the land.
It says appraisal of the land.
Yes, I believe that is just based off of the land. I'd have to double check with that. The scope of our walk was covering pretty much everything there. I may just have to check into her whether that's calculating in the playgrounds and the like. So I don't know the exact wording on her report for that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, but I'm just curious what our total value of that park is. Anyway, that's a general question.
So any other questions?
I will make a motion to approve the approval of the Gum Ranch property sale to the neighbors, pending confirmation, legal counsel that we dotted all the i's, crossed all the t's, don't have to put it up on auction.
I'll second. All in favor? On to agenda item 8.5, discussion of possible action on the intent to levy assessments for fiscal year 2023-2024, and provide notice of hearing on July 19, 2023 for the Fair Oaks Park Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District, the Phoenix Landscape and Lighting Assessment District, and the Gum Ranch Landscape and Lighting Assessment District.
Great, this item is the second step in the process that you go through every year to levy assessments on the three assessment districts that you just mentioned. There are three assessment districts. They are the Fair Oaks. It's the Fair Oaks PMRID, Parks Maintenance Recreation Improvement District, the Phoenixville Landscape and Lighting Assessment District, the Gum Ranch Landscape and Lighting Assessment District. By adopting these three resolutions, you are setting a public hearing for July that will allow the public to come and speak on any of these assessments. And as well, you are approving the preliminary engineer report that was included in the packet, which details all the different benefits for each of those assessment district areas and the by adopting these resolutions, we will be able to move forward in the process for fiscal year 2023-2024.
I was reading through it earlier, there was a 3% increase, so that is part of the new assessment, 3% increase.
The 3% increase is for two of them. It's for the overall Fair Oaks Plant Lighting and Landscape District and then the Gum Ranch. Phoenixville does not have a 3% escalator on it. It's the same every year.
So do you want to tackle this one or?
I can. So I will make a motion to adopt resolution with numbers 062123-06 to levy assessments for the Fair Oaks Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District. And provide a notice of public hearing on July 19th, 6 p.m. Adopt resolution number 062123-07. The intent to levy assessments for Phoenix Field Landscape and Lighting Assessment District. Adopt resolution number 062123-08. The intent to levy assessments on the Gum Ranch Landscape and Lighting Assessment District.
I'll second that, since she did all the hard work.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
8.6, discuss and possible action regarding the resolution proclaiming July as Parks and Recreation Month.
The resolution for you to adopt, this is what we all do every year. This will designate July as the Parks and Recreation.
Okay, any questions on this? Anybody? Okay, I'll make the motion that we do adopt resolution number 062123-09, recognizing July as Parks and Recreation Month.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Last but not least, 8.7, discussion and possible action on election of special district representatives to Sacramento LAFCO nominations for special district commissioner.
That's a mouthful. That was not working. I'm sorry. This is so that you can nominate someone to the position of the special district commission that is part of LAFCO. There's one office that's open, office for 7. Our new term is of December 2023, and so this term will begin January 1, 2024. It's a 4-year term. If you'd like to nominate one of your fellow directors or be nominated, we just need to have a vote by the board and then submit to LAFCO. Anyone?
So,
Spent 2 years on the other side of the podium.
All right.
No, not anymore.
well,
We could punish Raymond. Well, I mean, Tom knows this better than anybody else. It's the water districts, the fire districts that prevail, which seems patently unfair, but that's what happens.
Anyone on your board want to be nominated?
I move we make no nomination.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Moving to item number 9.1, items from the board directors.
I'll start. Still fresh in my mind, Mike provided a tour for myself and David Newland, and yesterday to do the amphitheater in the park. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. When you go in there, you stand on that stage and you look up and you're looking at almost 40 feet. You think about the black box.
It's amazing.
It is, but it's a hazard zone over there now. Well,
Yeah, Dylan and I had the same tour. so-
with my safety vest, it came down to my knees, so I thought I was gonna trip.
Safety vest was more of a hazard.
Mike had to hold my hand after, as I stepped over all those metal spikes that could impale someone. And he didn't push me either. And that was incredibly amazing to see all the work that's being done. I just marvel at a contractor that has the guts to take all of that on. I took about 1,000 pictures there, so study them later.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm just very much enjoying summer in Fair Oaks. I think there have been some program offerings. They've been really great. I got 3 text messages today from different people about their popsicles at Gum Ranch
Okay.
today. And so I guess everybody was running over to Gum Ranch for popsicles at 1 p.m. I got one kid at Camp Fair Oaks, who's thankful it's back at McMillan Center. Yesterday, the camp walked to the farmer's market, which is in the same parking lot.
Right.
And the kids knew in advance they were going, so they were told they were allowed to bring money if they wanted to. So when I got home from work last night, there was a baguette, a jar of strawberry jam, and 1 avocado. And I asked him how his day was, and he just talked about how he got to sample this at the farmer's market and how he got to do this. And so I just thought it was kind of, and that's not even the big theme for the week. The big thing they're doing is they're going to like a trampoline place on Thursday. But the fact that Tuesday they got to walk to the farmer's market, and then today they were going to be spending the day at the Fair Oaks Library. So just really creatively using like the things that we have in Fair Oaks, right? And so I think it's been really nice. So I just want to say thank you to the parks maintenance guys and girls for keeping the parks looking beautiful, and then also rec staff for planning these events. It's been really great. That's all I have.
And I'll just add that Linda and I had the same tour and walked through there in that black box and the backstage, and everything is just super impressive. It is a monumental task. It's obviously a big part of our budget, and I'm super excited for that thing to get open and, get the community in there enjoying it, enjoying the space. So.
It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. So I don't know if Mike is going to bring this up in his report, but we've talked a little bit about the future of our foundation and the future of the Fair Oaks Foundation for Leisure and the Arts, which I think share the same kind of mission. And I'm very much in favor of doing something with our foundation, which is sat idle for many years. It'd be good to have some public members on it. And the other issue is one of dealing with our community partners, long-established community partners that are the usual suspects for starting most of the things that happen in this community, that we allow them some sweat equity against rentals by providing volunteer services to staff our events. And I hope we discuss that at some point.
You said you're going to bring that back the next month or so?
Yeah, once we kind of ferret more details out, I talked to each individually. I won't say what everybody said, but I talked to each of you individually about that. And so what we'll be doing next is meeting with those groups, discussing the options and how this will work, and then bringing the proposal back to you. So for official and for public comment.
Perfect. Anything else from the board? Okay, we're all good. Items from the staff?
Sean, did you have anything?
I do not at this time.
Ian, you got anything?
Actually, yeah.
Ian's got some.
Yeah, so my name is Ian Roberts. I am the admin assistant to here at the district. I also sit on the CPRS District 2 board. So CPRS is the California Park and Recreation Society. I know you guys do it every year, dedicating July as Park and Rec Month, which is great, and that's fantastic. CPRS pushes that out to everybody in the state, which is fantastic. And kind of the goal for that is to really let state legislature know, let the government know that, hey, park and recreation is a big thing. We are important and vital. So just as somebody in CPRS, thank you for doing it.
Thanks for serving.
Yeah,
Representing us.
absolutely.
I do not have it.
So the one thing I have, and then Director Carr, you kind of segue earlier to that, the Arts Entertainment Manager, we have tendered an offer to an individual. That offer, we do not have the contract back yet from that person. So I'm not divulging too much information here. But the reason we don't have the contract back is because this person is under contract to do some employment until later this summer. We're waiting for that exact date that for us to be able to make an announcement and the return contract. The work that she does limits her ability. She doesn't work, she's under contract and travels under this contract. It limits her ability to communicate. That's probably the best way to say it. I think we have a great hire. We're looking forward to introducing this person, but we will wait a little bit until she's back here in this area. She's a local person, so it is nice to be able to have a local person and comes highly recommended.
You have a tentative date when they come on?
We're still waiting on that. That she hasn't fulfilled the terms of her contract.
What are you shooting for?
I would like to see
It's possible.
the end of July at the very latest, but it may be as late as the end of August. So
Are you free to tell us how many people interviewed?
we interviewed 7.
Initially.
Yeah, 7, and we pared it down to 3 and had 3 incredible candidates, and she rose to the top.
Thank you.
Looking forward to meeting the person.
Yes.
And they get 8 months to all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, the hard part is I really need that person here today, but I think that this is worth the wait.
Sure.
And so we're picking up a lot of those tasks, trying to figure out what kind of cords we need to order for sound and lighting. This is way out of our wheelhouse.
I imagine.
We're getting it though.
I imagine this position will have a lot to do with the foundations also,
Foundation and
activating those so that we can start bringing in stuff. And they have the same duty statement we approved previously.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Small potatoes. Well, I'd give you a construction update, but there's no reason. Y'all were just out there walking, but
Everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
We don't really need an update unless that date changes.
yeah, it is. In 2 days, it hasn't changed.
So I will make a motion to adjourn to the regular meeting of July 19th, 2003 at 6 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Even though you're adjourned, I would like to say that to the recreation staff, the Mississippi